So that's fun. Okay, take it
Psychological
away.
battles.
Yeah, that's all.
Thank
set.
you, Harvey.
Mhm.
Thank you, everybody, for joining. We will get started now. We've got a few people here in person, and we've got a few people here in Zoom. Hello, Purvi, Sean, and Sarah. Sean, I don't know if you're back there. Welcome. My name is Brian Lee. I am the MCTT in this office. That's the Market Center Tech Trainer. I'm also part of the Peterson Realty team. Been an agent for about 7 years, and I've been tasked to teach you a couple sessions today. The first session is Power Session 9, Agent-to-Agent Referrals, and the next session is more along the lines of setting your goals and business planning for the year. Now, these two classes are supposed to take 2 hours each, and I have 2 hours to teach all of them, So we're trying to condense 4 hours of material. To be quite honest with you, I think we'll spend most of the time here in agent-to-agent referrals, mainly because the business planning sector can really take all day. And I highly encourage you to look at some business planning clinics that are happening between now and the end of the year to help you plan for the next year, help you plan for your goals, your milestones, and plan for how you plan to reach those goals. Those are really great sessions. I go every year. I know a lot of agents go every year to these business planning clinics to make sure they have their business plan. So once January comes around, you're up and running. You already know what your business plan is. You already know what you need to do, instead of coming in January after the holidays and then trying to figure out what you want to do. Because we all know in our business here, things lag behind. What you do today affects your business 30 to 60 to 90 days from now. So it's great to do your business planning ahead of time. So start, let's go ahead. Let's keep putting on these slides. This is my introduction. We also have a workshop next week for tech training. We don't really have a topic yet. I think one of the topics that we'll probably teach on is mass marketing, mass emailing, text messaging, how to reach your clients or your sphere or anyone in your database on a massive level. Blasting out a newsletter, blasting out an email or a text message, or whatever you want to do. There's a bunch of tools within Command to help you do that and help you design things too, depending on what you want to do. So come for that. Ground rules, you've seen all these before in the previous classes. First exercise, actually, I have another question for you. This is kind of where we are in the curriculum. You've already gone through all the classes up to class 8, FSBOs and expires. And today is agent-to-agent referrals. The question is, why do you guys think agent-to-agent referrals is important? Anybody? Before I ask for a volunteer.
I like agent-to-agent referrals because if you're building a relationship with a lot of the agents, is like almost like your friend. If they get to know you, you have a better chance to get that deal and to close because they trust you, they know you. It's better than finding someone off the street you know nothing about, and maybe they don't have a good history of closing. So if you know someone and they refer to you, it's usually it's more of a solid lead also that you're getting. So it's always stronger.
So the trust is already pretty big.
Right, yeah. I want to highlight a couple of things that Harvey said. The agent knows you. Oh, sorry, Purvi, you had your hand raised. Would you like to say?
Yeah, I think agent-to-agent referrals are also good in a scenario where you are not local to that area and there's another agent who is well proficient with the area. So it's better to give them a referral rather than, you trying to, travel again every time and you don't even have an idea about the area. So I think in that scenarios when you are not local to the area.
Yes, great. So that's two different scenarios for agent referrals that Harvey mentioned and Purvi just mentioned. Harvey mentioned receiving referrals, and a couple things I want to highlight that Harvey said is they just know you, so they trust you, and hopefully you've known each other enough to know what your individual work ethic is like, that you're attracted to each other in that way, and so getting that lead is better than any lead you'll probably get other than a lead from your sphere of influence, meaning it's a hot lead, someone that you know is qualified, Second, you know they're going to stick with you because you get that
Referral.
referral and that qualification from that other agent. Say, hey, I know this guy, he's going to take good care of you.
Yeah.
So that word of mouth is golden. You know that client's going to stick with you no matter what. Otherwise, and you better take care of it too, which is the other side of it, because if you don't, then the other agent's going to know. So it's a hot lead, someone that's going to stick with you. And then Purvi mentioned referring out to other people. So say you get a referral, meet somebody who wants to buy in Los Angeles. I mean, I don't know Los Angeles at all. So you can find someone in that area, the local agent in that area, connect with them, meet them, interview them. And if they seem to be a good agent that can represent you well, then you just refer it out. And the great thing is you don't have to worry about it again. You can follow up with them. You should follow up with them, with that client and with the other agent to see the status of things. And then a few months later, hopefully you'll get a check in the mail and it'll be a nice surprise. What's that term that people use? Mailbox check or
Mailbox money.
mailbox money. So it's mailbox money.
You had it.
Refer it out. Don't think about it. And then one day you get a surprise in the mail.
Usually it's 25%.
That's the industry standard.
That's the industry standard.
You can charge more.
You can charge more or less, but that's generally what 25%. We can go more into that a little bit later.
You know what I say? Just a comment on that. People always ask, depending on where, usually if it's in California, I'll say I only take 25%. And I actually, here's my line. I don't care where it is, where it's coming from. I say, look, I hope you're okay with the industry standard of 25%. I don't take any more, but I don't take any less. And I just keep it that because I don't want to keep guessing. Oh, I gave Brian 25 and I gave Kenny 30, I gave Jenny 50. And then, you don't remember that sometimes. So you're going to have it written down, but just keep it simple, because it's fair. Because the other side works hard if you're giving it away. And if you're getting it 25% for doing nothing, but just referring them, it's worth it to me. That's just my take. Right? Yeah. But, the people from out of California, they'll tend to ask for more because they don't make that much where they're at, like in Texas or wherever. You're talking like a lot far, the price point is a lot lower. That's why. Yeah.
Great. So I want to do a quick exercise, so a little bit of classroom involvement. Where do you think people meet their realtors?
Open houses.
Open houses. Okay.
Yeah. Parties.
Open houses. Sphere of influence.
Work.
Work. Okay. Old coworkers.
Parties.
Whoa, where are these people? Old workers.
Neighbor.
Neighbors.
School. Play date.
Neighbors.
Gym.
Gym. Sorry, what was that, Sarah?
Play date.
Play dates.
Yeah.
I'm taking my daughter and son to a field trip next week, so play dates. I plan to make some good context there.
Nice.
Social media.
I'm sorry.
Social media.
Social media. Whoa, what just happened? Social media is a good one. Good.
Referral.
Referrals. Reading ahead. Okay, I'm going to stop us there because we could go on for a long time. That's a great list. The list that we have here, that Keller Williams gave us here. Can you guys see that? Okay.
Wow. 38%.
So referred by friend or neighbor or relative, basically your sphere, 38%. That's most people are getting their agents through that way. Conversely, that's where we get most of our clients. The previous agent, so past client, someone used it before, only 22% of people who've used an agent use the same agent again. So meaning, if you have a buyer that's who's into a home, 1 out of 4 times they may not use you again for the next house. That's why it's important for us to keep in touch with them. Visit open house, 5%, internet website leads, 4%, and the percentages go down from there.
Wow.
So really, the biggest one is SOI, and the next one is previous client. Right, those are the biggest ones. Everything else is about a 5% or less return, including internet leads. A lot of
Okay.
people make a big deal about getting internet leads,
Mm.
but really that's a very small percentage of business. Now, in the previous classes in lead generation, they mentioned it's important to have more than one source of lead generation, right? You want to call, you want to farm, you want whatever the case may be. What do you guys like to do?
Open house.
Open house, that's
I
one.
Do open house.
Open house, what's another one?
Sphere.
Sphere. So how do you contact your sphere?
How do I
Lead gen,
contact? I'm in touch with,
phone calls.
Phone call, okay. Phone call,
yeah,
parties,
like I talk to them, invite them,
Face-
host them,
parties, face to
play
face.
dates with
Great.
my children.
lunch.
Fantastic. How many of you have other agents in your sphere, in your database?
Not on
Not a
LinkedIn.
lot.
No, not a lot.
On LinkedIn, yes,
On LinkedIn, yes.
but not,
As part of your usual lead gen.
no.
Not many people do. And that's okay. I mean, that's what we're here for. It's because only, 4% of buyers and 4% of sellers find their real estate agent referred from another agent.
Oh,
So it's still,
not
it's
much.
4%, not a lot, but it's better than internet leads. It's better than a bunch of these other leads. So it's still a good section of lead gen that you can do in your normal day-to-day business. I do know there are a couple guys online who are referral agents. That's all they do. They lead gen and they send their leads to whoever, and they make a good living. That's all they do, because they don't want to be out there showing homes. They don't want to list them. They don't want to do that kind of work, but they love to call. They love to post on social media. They love to just lead gen. That's all. And then they would sell those leads or refer those leads to get money. And that could be a good lead generation source. So let's keep going. There's these stories that are in your workbook. Did you guys get a workbook? You didn't get, did they get
This
one?
one?
It's in the link.
It's in the link, it's already shared.
Okay,
Okay, we don't
I
need
just
to
didn't
print.
print so much.
got it.
Print
Okay,
is so much cheaper.
Yeah.
I know. So in the link in the chat, that you can get to the workbook. And in the workbook, there's some stories and some anecdotes that you can read through. I encourage you to read through them all, but I'm not going to go through them all directly. But I'll refer to them so you can just reference them. This particular story, this is an agent who had a story where she did a bunch of referrals. From one referral, just from a random lunch she had, she talked to another agent in another area, and he just happened to have a gentleman who wanted to sell in her area. So these were even listing referrals, but it turned out he was a big time investor, and he ended up selling about 26 properties within 3 years. So from that one referral, from that one lunch, that she gained $200,000 worth of business within 2 years, or from 1 year, she gained $200,000. I mean, as part of she made $900,000 in GCI that year, but if she didn't have that one lunch and talked about referrals with that one agent, then that's business she never would have had. 25% of her business from that 1 year. So it could be a very important part of your business. You just never know when it happens. So it's important to make sure you keep lead generating for agents at any time, because you never know what's going to happen. Thanks, Abigail, for posting that link. So I asked you how many agents are in your database. So you said just one.
No, I just wanted to ask that.
Yeah.
How do you do this on a regular basis? If you are representing a buyer,
Mhm.
then the listing agent, is that your agent that you will seek referral from, or have?
It's harder for agents in the same area.
Yeah.
So I will, if you hold, so I'll answer part of this question now and answer part later.
Okay.
So now, I mean, it's hard for some agents in the area.
Correct.
What I think Harvey can talk to a little bit later is joining different networking groups,
Right.
like ARIA.
Okay.
So there is one instance where I referred an agent to someone in this office because, so Myrna Tin,
Yeah.
she created a group in this office for Spanish-speaking clients. She has a Latinx committee on the ALC, and I was lead genning. This was actually some cold calls that I made, and I found a client who only spoke Spanish. or mostly Spanish. Like they spoke enough English where I could understand them.
Right.
But then, there was no way for me to work with them because I don't understand Spanish. I can't speak, I can't understand, but I connected them with Myrna right away through a referral agreement. She took it, she ran with it. She got them the contract and closed, and I got a referral fee out of it. So even though I was lead genning, I met someone who was a valid client,
Right.
but there was no way for me to work with them. Like
Okay.
it would have been impossible. I would have done a terrible job working with this client. I would have been awful with it, but it was a perfect client for Myrna. So there may be instances where there's a client that's not right for you,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Maybe you don't get along with them, or it just doesn't work
It's a
out.
Language barrier.
Language barrier,
See,
exactly.
I got a client
Mhm.
from open house who only speak a little bit English, but
Yeah.
they just came from Korea. I have hard time to communicate. So
Yeah.
they're asking for loan stuff. So I refer out to somebody, but I don't know who's
In our office is
Yeah,
Grace
office.
Pack,
Chris. what-
Grace Pack,
I
P-A-K.
should
Yeah.
refer to
Yeah,
him.
she's a top producer.
Yeah, whenever you're in doubt, talk to someone in the office.
Yeah.
Understand what they're talking
yeah.
about. It's so hard to understand over the phone.
Yeah, whenever you talk to your coach, your productivity coach, or talk to Harvey or
Yeah,
whoever the team
We
leader
can
is.
tell you who's in the office,
Yeah.
who can speak what. It's so funny because just the other day, I gave Myrna a Hispanic speaking referral, and she got on the phone and set up an appointment with her and gonna take it. So good for her. You know? So that was just yesterday.
Yeah,
So you
yeah.
never know who, but I come in, I'm going to come to the office and give it to someone here first before I go outside, of course. Yeah.
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 And that's always great. If it's a hard lead to work, like maybe you don't know. I'll give Myrna another lead that was in the Central Valley, because I wasn't with 2 kids at home. It's harder for me to make that drive. If I was early in my career, no kids, then yeah, I would do it.
Yeah.
I've done it before, but Myrna was already in that area with another client, so something else I removed her. So just talk to people in the office if you have a difficult lead or lead that you find impossible to work with.
Okay, so if you
And-
guys have a lead who speaks only Chinese, refer to me, Mandarin.
And that's okay to ask too. I mean,
Yeah.
it's great to ask because
No.
referrals go both
Any
ways. What's that, Sarah?
Repeat that again.
Say that again, Sarah?
Oh, I'm so sorry. I should unmute.
Oh, okay, no problem. That's okay. So it's good to keep other agents in your database.
Yeah.
If you don't, that's still okay. I'll show you a little bit later how we can tap into command so you can see every single agent in command. Look up their name, their information, how many deals they've closed in the last year, how many listings they've sold, how many buyers they've worked with. So then when you send out that referral, you know a little bit more information about them. You have their phone number, you contact them, talk to them directly, and we'll go through some good steps, some just good procedures to follow when trying to find a referral source outside of this office. Yeah, we talked about giving and receiving leads. So receiving leads, and we talked about this actually, sending out leads. These are the pros and cons. Outside of these, what do you think is what of these is the best reason for sending out a lead or receiving a lead?
What is the what?
What is the best reason for receiving a lead? Like, what's the best?
That's money.
You
The
got
money, right? Money.
And it's coming to you directly, it's gonna be a strong lead.
They're not
Because they
gonna shop
trust the other
around,
agent.
yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's exactly it.
Already be educated.
Yeah, I mean, it's 70%, not the full commission, but
Yeah,
70, at least
75.
70 to say 75%. We'll
Yeah.
assume 25% commission that you're referring out. It's a hot customer. It's almost guaranteed to close because they're a hot lead. 75% of a deal is better than 0 of whole deal of something you don't have already. You serve that customer well, it could be a repeat client. So that just that one, even don't think of it as one 70% commission, it could be multiple deals. this person becomes a Met. They can refer other people to you. So multiple deals can just roll on top of each other, especially if you do a good job for them. If you do a good job, the other agent on the other side could refer more to you. You know, you've proven that you've done a good job. You've proven that you can get the deal done. They'll more likely that send you another lead when they get some. Yeah, and validity. I have a story that I'll share. I got a lead that from a couple years ago, closed on a condo. So condo, I think $600,000 to $700,000 condo in Burlingame, 1-bedroom condo. Not a big deal. Worked for quite a while. It was a referral, so you know, it wasn't a huge check on that one particular transaction. Not a huge check by our Bay Area standards. But then 6 months later, no, less than a year later, a little more than 6 months, her parents needed to sell. So some circumstances, she had to sell a home in Pleasanton. That ended up being a $2.1 million transaction. So they were happy, her family was happy. And then they actually referred another deal to me. We just sold a place in Burlingame, Berkeley, for $645,000. So from that one referral came a listing in Pleasanton and a listing in Berkeley. So if I never had that referral, never accepted that referral, those two other pieces of business never would have happened. So that came out to be, I don't know, almost $3 million volume from one referral. And so that's something I definitely don't want to miss. So you have to want to make sure that you take those referrals. Purvi, do you have any questions or comments? I think it's from when she had that comment earlier. Okay. Responsibilities of receiving referrals. You have to just think about what it really means to receive a referral. You get a referral from, say I get a referral from Harvey. Everything I do reflects on Harvey, which for me, I take that with real, that's a priority. That's a real, not a burden, but something that I take very seriously, personally. I don't want to make him look bad, because if I make him look bad, one, he's not going to refer me any more business. And two, that client could go away because they're still going to they're close to Harvey for some reason. And if he goes back to Harvey and says, hey, Brian's screwing around, he's not showing me houses, Harvey will find someone else to get the deal done. And he won't hesitate because he's got a check on the line too. So it's important that we take those leads seriously. As part of that, you'll see here on this list, respond to customers immediately. We work with them. Most of the time, leads are buyers. It's not always the case, but I think the majority of leads that people get referred out and referred from are buyers. So you got to be sure you're someone who loves to work with buyers. If it's not a buyer, then be sure you can take care of that client well. Don't be afraid to ask for help in this office, because you really want to do a good job with those referral leads. Be someone that's value add. Provide solutions along the way. Show that you're expert in that neighborhood. Show that you're expert to that referred client, so then they have good things to say to you about to the referring agent and to their friends and family or whoever they know. And know those resources, even if you don't know a city. So for example, I still don't know San Jose that well, but if I need to show clients, I'll just jump on Google Evergreen. So in 20 minutes, 15 minutes, whatever the case is, I can be an expert, quote unquote expert in that neighborhood. Expert with school. So much information is online that if it's a neighborhood close by, there's no reason that you can't be a neighborhood expert. Just make sure you drive by that neighborhood maybe before you take them out to show it, but be that expert so that they can refer it to.
You can also, I'm just going to add to it. If you want, you just call someone who knows that area. So if you don't know Evergreen, for example, and I happen to know it, I'll say, so what part of Evergreen? And so you should learn every part of Evergreen. Like there's 95148 zip code, 95135, 95122. The school districts in there for like 95148. I know it's like Carolyn Clark School District for elementary. It goes to Jaboya Middle School and Evergreen High. For the difference of 95135 is Tommy Matsumoto Elementary School. But if you know that, all those things, even if you don't really know all the streets, you know the school information, you know the zip codes, they think you know the area. So I encourage people to know the zip codes, like all of Santa Clara. like, all of North San Jose or South San Jose, West San Jose, Saratoga, these areas where we're at right here, right in Santa Clara. If you just know the zip codes or the areas, they think you know everything. That's the way I do it, but
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
just, but I know a lot about, and once you start working in those areas, you'll definitely know what, like, Brian said, you just go on Google and it's all there. Yeah.
Great. And then the next section is the benefits of referring someone out. Can you guys give me a couple of reasons why it's beneficial to send out the referral?
You can't be in two places at once.
That's right. Can't be in two places at once.
Can be what?
Cannot be in two places at once.
Oh,
Yeah.
oh.
I mean, really, that's the main one.
Yeah.
And it's almost like you're
Well,
paying someone to work for you.
you're also building a relationship with someone else, and
Mhm.
they hopefully will return the favor.
Yeah.
And your clients will maybe say, wow, that guy was so good. They're moving, and someone will call them up. And then you'll have that same situation come up again.
Plus, you're also leaning on their expertise in that area. And
Yeah.
and plus, you're setting them up for success if they're relocating and take the ground running.
And so that's great.
It's just another way to keep that business, right? If
Yeah.
you know someone that's leaving, so I know somebody who's moving to Santa Barbara. I'm not gonna help them to Santa Barbara. I don't know Santa Barbara. So I referred out to another agent there. So at least I get something, right? Even though I worked with them here for a few months and then they decided they're moving, they trust me because they know me, that they worked with me for a little while before they decided to move out of town. So that's one way to get some compensation. The second is, if you find that agent, you get to choose that agent. And like I said, we'll talk about how to find that agent in a minute. But then you establish that relationship that Harvey was saying. Hopefully it's a reciprocal where you send them a referral and they'll send you one at some point. And I know us, for Ken and I are on the same team, we'll just go to each other. Hey, do you have a good referral source in Sacramento or a good referral source in Salt Lake City? And that's where we would start. And then if you have that relationship with someone else on the other side, they have the same conversations that in their office that we do here. So the more that you can give them reason to bring your name up, the better. Yeah, I mean, you don't get the full commission, but at least it's better than nothing.
Yeah, they do most of the work.
Yeah, they do pretty much all the work. And just some of the responsibilities, you still want to keep in touch, right? You follow up with your client. So this was a mistake of mine. I referred someone out and then I didn't keep in touch with them and then ended up not buying. And then I don't know if I would have been able to do anything, but at least I would have known and be able to help that conversation along and help push them along. If there's two agents helping someone buy, it's easier than if just one agent helping someone buy. So it's good to keep in touch with your referral and keep in touch with the agent. See how things are going. If they've reached some objection, like, oh, if the husband is being this way, I can say, oh, the husband is like that because he doesn't like trains or whatever the case is. You can help them overcome any objections that they could have if you know them that well. And I also want to bring up, it's also important when you meet these leads, it's good to still take them through a buyer's presentation. Even if you know they're not going to buy in this area, because sometimes you don't know if that's really true or not. Like maybe they're thinking about buying in Boise, Idaho, but if they had an opportunity, they'd rather get something closer here. So you want to have that buyer's presentation to go through all those questions with them. Why you want to buy in Boise. Find out the reason behind. Do they want to move there? Do they just want to buy that investment? Do they want to grow investment properties around the country? If that's the case, then you can definitely help them even more. Find more referral sources in other parts of the country that would interest them. But also the main reason is so you find out why. The big reason is you want to know why they want to move or why they want to go to other areas. And then, because if you know that, you can communicate that to the other agent on the other side to help them get them into contract. Because you want the other agent to be as successful as possible for your clients. So still do that buyer's presentation fully, because you never know, you could realize that they really did want to buy here in the first place, but they're only looking in Gilroy because they didn't think they could afford anything in San Jose. Yeah, it's a win-win relationship. Having agents in your database, it's always good to know. Even if you don't send each other referrals, if they're agents in this area, they could have listings that buyers may want to purchase, or they may bring a buyer to your listing. So it's always good to know agents have agents in your database.
How often do you have touch point with these agents?
Quite honestly, not a whole lot directly. I think that's where a lot of LinkedIn and social media, Facebook come into play. It's easier to reach out in that way. Back in the day when we used to go to broker tours all the time, every once a week we'd go and look at homes. I would see who the listing agents are, and we'd go and just go face to face, say hi. We used to do that a lot, and that's usually, I like doing that because there's tons of agents in the Bay Area, right? But there's only maybe 25% of those agents are the ones who actually have listings. And those are the ones that I want to build more relationships with, because you never know, maybe they end up in the same office with you one day and you want to get open houses from them, or whatever the case is. There have been some listing agents that aren't in this office that have reached out to us to help them with open houses, because we kept in touch, or maybe we used to work together in the same office before and we want to keep in touch. Those relationships are golden, especially if you end up working together at some point.
Have you referred to anybody outside of KW office, like
I have, yeah.
other than Keller Williams Realtors?
Yeah, I have. Can't remember who I
If
have.
you can't find a good KW agent, you're better off working with a competent agent somewhere else. Maybe you even know that agent or it was referred to you, than someone, because maybe there's areas where there's no KW offices yet. Okay. I mean, we have probably the largest network in the US and in the world, but I'll say, if you can't find a KW office around, then, find a very good agent that you believe that might be able to help you down the line. Hopefully it's reciprocal. They can send something back to you.
Yeah. Especially, I think, like Harvey said, not every area has a big KW office. I think in one area, I think Granite Bay, Roseville, around that
I mean, I
area.
was just looking recently for somebody,
Bodega Bay, there's not many agents out there.
up in Tiburon, there's nothing really up there, but, so the closest one is like an hour away or something. I mean, there's gonna be places that are more desolate and you just don't have a lot of market centers everywhere, but for the most part, you can still find someone.
Yeah.
Or that's the other reason why you join these other associations, you'll have these personal contacts to that kind of thing. But
the short answer is, whatever agent you're confident that will get the deal done, they'll close that deal, because you want to make sure your client is happy, number one, and then if they're happy, they end up buying, then you get the referral fee at the end of it. So referral fee still works out regardless if they're with Keller Williams or not. So you just want to make sure it's a good agent. So how do we find other agents? How do we make ourselves available? The rules here, or the recommendations here, is to go through an exercise. What makes you different? So we don't have to go through that now, but think about what makes you different. How makes you different from other agents? And meeting other agents from the area, it's a little more challenging now that we've had COVID, but there have been other big conventions. Family reunion is one that we had. We went to Kenny and I went to
Events.
SCORE has events, right? That are regional.
There's one tonight.
Right. Well, I'm talking about regional events, like nationwide events, or maybe all of California. So family reunion is all Keller Williams in the country, and we meet in one place. And when Kenny and I went in, what was it?
The one
I think
in New Orleans?
New Orleans. I kept thinking Mardi Gras. In New Orleans, I think we came away with at least a couple hundred contacts each. And it's easy because we're all there to do the same thing. Everybody wants a network. Everybody wants your card, especially when they say, "Oh, you're from the Bay Area. Like, what's your price point? Like $1 million for a
all
home?"
want it.
Yeah, they all
Because
want
we
it.
have the highest price point.
Yeah, they become your best friend over there.
Everybody's your best friend. Oh,
Yeah.
can I buy you some crocodile? I don't know.
And then because when you ask them about their price points, like, oh, our homes are selling
Ah,
150, 200,000 each.
Okay.
yeah,
You're like 285 in Minnesota.
oh God.
Yeah. So it's also good perspective for us to have.
You're
And-
sought after.
Yeah.
You are sought after. You're a
Yeah.
hot commodity.
Yeah. Just make sure you connect with them and not just exchange, but have a conversation, build a little bit of rapport,
Yeah.
find out what you guys have like in common, how you guys like to work, make sure that they know that you're a working full-time agent that can take care of any clients that they have. Make sure to ask for the business because a lot of people just give you the card and they walk away. So be that one that stands out a little bit, spending a little more time talking to them and building that relationship.
Yeah, and also be mindful of, where people are migrating from California right now. So you have a lot of Austin, Texas, a lot of Nashville, Tennessee.
Mhm.
So those are the people that, be purposeful with who you're talking to, because then you get to connect with those people that are actually migrating to those areas.
Yeah, and it's a great time to learn more about those areas. Like if you know people going to Nashville, you find an agent there. What's the market like in Nashville? Like what are buyers looking for? What's available for 500,000? Just a short conversation. It's a chance for you to qualify them and them to qualify you too, to get leads from them. Harvey has a great story from getting referrals in New York.
Oh, okay. Let me share this one. So I was on vacation and I went to a Keller Williams office that was close to where I was at. It was really close. It was actually Capital District Keller Williams in Latham, New York, or Albany, New York, where the capital is. So when I went there, I decided that, hey, you know what? I want to write off my taxes. I asked if I could instruct a class, just teach a quick class or something like that for about an hour. And they sort of laughed at me. He goes, "You're on vacation?" I said, "Yeah, I want to write my taxes off," so they let me do it. So I met a bunch of agents there. So I went there like 3 consecutive years. The second year, I actually they made me teach 2 hours. And then the third year, they made me teach 4 hours because I said, "Hey, I'm on vacation." They said, "Well, you know what? You want to write your taxes off. We need you to do this." I said, "Okay." And they laughed. But the good part was I asked them, how many students are you going to have in there? They said about 8 to 12, and about 55 people showed up. So I got cards from 55 people. And I lived there for a long time. So when I have referrals, I just give them to them. And then when they have referrals to go to California, they didn't know anybody, they send them to me. So it's a good way to get referrals in other market centers. If you're traveling around, just visit them and just meet other agents, KW agents in other market centers, and you can easily get referrals.
Also on Connect.
Connect, yeah. We'll talk about that soon too, yeah. So
So-
this was back when we didn't have Command or Connect or
Right.
a good way to reach out other agents.
Yeah.
There's still, back then, it's still around, but KW White Pages is another place where you go to look at names. But then when you do that, it's just names and numbers on a page,
Yeah.
right? There's
nothing
no
personalized.
relationship,
Yeah.
there's no personalization.
Yeah.
It's another reason, okay, 2 things. If you ever travel to another KW office, okay, then I would meet the team leader and say, "Hey, would you tell me who your top agent is for buying or selling or whatever?" And you can make a call by just looking on the KW website and you can look up the offices that are there. So when you call, you say, "Hey, can I speak to the team leader?" And then you introduce yourself. "I'm such and such. I'm Harvey Young from KW Santa Clara in California. I have a referral, a listing referral or a buyer's referral. Can I speak to a few agents? I don't want to talk to one. I want to talk to a few. I want to interview them and make sure they fit my client's needs." And so I make sure it is a good fit. Okay. So
Going along with what Harvey said, that I think is one of the main things that I do when I send referrals out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Find out which area they're in. So for example, the one I sent them to Santa Barbara, that's exactly what I did. I called the team leader.
Yeah.
Actually, I don't think the team leader answered. That's team leader or the MCA.
Well,
The MCA is another
usually
good
you
reference.
get the director first impression
Exactly.
answering, right?
Yeah.
So, hi.
But
It's a
find-
great day.
yeah.
Californians.
We'll find someone like the team leader or the MCA. I think those are the two that I would trust.
Yeah.
And then the question that I usually ask is, who on your ALC is someone who will be willing to take, who can I interview to take this referral? And if they're on the ALC, then they're within a certain percentage amount, they're in the top 20%,
Mhm.
and they're serious with their business. Now that may not necessarily be what you want, because there's one time I tried that. I got the team leader, or I got the guy, I called him, and he was just way too busy. He had like the other agents working underneath him, so he referred me to someone underneath him to work for. And it's great that I know all these numbers for this leader of a team, but that's not who's going to be servicing my client. So then I reached out, I found someone else. So you don't always want to get the person who has the name on the door, right? In some instances, it's good to get someone who's a newer agent, because they're going to be working, they're going to be busting their butt to get that deal done. And so it's up to you to kind of talk to that team leader, figure out, like Harvey said, talk to 2 or 3 different agents in the office to figure out what works best for you and your client. Because after you do your buyer's presentation, you'll know what your buyers are looking for, and what area,
language do they speak?
what language, what their personality is like. Because you can work with that team leader, figure out what personality best fits theirs to work with, and make sure it's someone that can close that deal. And then you can send them along, and they'll get that.
You know what, I just thought of something when you were talking about when you went to a family reunion and you're networking there,
Mhm.
they're counting down and you talked about, oh, you're from California, I want your card, right? So I remember they're counting down like the top 20
Mhm.
and agents, production and everything. And they're going through the list. Oh, this guy had 200 and something. He's number 11 or something like that. Another person, he's at number 8 and he had 300 something. And they're counting, they get to number 5 and he had 500 something transactions. And I'm thinking, how did they do that? And then they get to number 1, guy from Palo Alto. I can't think of his name right off the top of my head. We're friends. And with 27 transactions, he led everybody, right? They go, what, 27? The guy had 600 something transaction. He came in like 5th or something. And this guy had 27 transactions, number 1. And they were like shocked. They go, what? Because he's selling.
The price points are.
Oh my gosh.
Very
Yeah.
different.
Yeah, they have to
Yeah.
do volume, right?
Mhm. So he's selling homes that are like 10 to 15 million dollars. And he doesn't need that many. He lives right where like what's the Mark Zuckerberg, Steve Young, the football player, the Clorox CEO, all these people live right in that one area, right?
Right.
Yeah, so it's off a university.
Yeah.
Yeah, and matter of fact, he's still with KW in Palo Alto, and he's got the largest lot in Palo Alto. He had trainings actually in his backyard for KW over there.
Oh,
So
my
it's
goodness.
for that office. Yeah. So it's he's a really good guy, really good guy.
Speaking of family reunion, I got a lot of contacts with family reunion,
Mhm.
but that may not be the best place to network. If you get to mega camp, because family reunion, I think, is more of everyone just go, and I think some people just like to go just to party. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but agents go to meet each other. Sometimes you meet great agents there. But I think if you go to mega camp, that's where I think you meet more agents who are more serious about their business, about developing personally and developing their business to grow.
When is the mega camp?
August,
Where?
right?
Austin.
Austin, usually
Yeah.
Austin.
Yeah, you know what,
Yeah,
it's
go
just
next
great
year.
to go to Austin because you'll get good food, you'll meet nice people, and then they're gonna, you know what, you meet people from other places and they're gonna say, hey, let's go here to eat. And you just go with them,
Yeah.
because everything's in walking distance, just about, from what I saw.
So usually there's Keller,
Keller.
They're gonna announce
Keller
these,
Yeah. Mhm.
so, like Brian was saying, you get a lot of networking leads and cards and, you build up your database, you
Yeah.
really do. But they're all looking for you,
their price point is getting higher.
It's
too.
getting better. Yeah.
They're getting higher. definitely getting higher.
But as theirs increase, our continues to
Of
increase.
course.
Yes.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
I'd still rather be here than there,
Yeah.
because we don't have 900-degree weather, you know?
And I just, I mean,
Yeah,
they-
I'm just,
it takes them 50
Investors.
transactions to get to where we go.
Yeah.
With it
Yeah,
from
We
you-
have
10, 15
investors here.
transactions.
They want to invest in Austin.
yeah.
That's why it's also good to know.
No, another
Yeah.
thing about that, if you're buying in other areas, they have what they call recourse and non-recourse states. So if you don't know what that is, California is a non-recourse state. I just want to bring this up because if you're telling your people to buy a non-recourse state in California, so if you own a home now and you buy another investment home, well, let's say the market tanks and your renter goes away in your investment home. The mortgage company, they'll take that home away from you probably, but they cannot sue you. Whereas you go to a recourse state such as Nevada, Arizona, possibly Texas, Florida for sure. If you default on that, they can come after your home in California. Okay, so you got to be careful when you're investing. And so I'm just throwing that in there because it's something that could happen, you know?
Okay.
Now, Florida land is probably pretty cheap. I hate to say it like that, but you know,
Gotcha.
we probably could buy a lot there now.
One last comment about Mega Camp. Just I think the reason with, oh, sure.
Have you ever given a referral and then pulled it out? Like, is there a timeline where you see the other agent is not really doing much with the referral that you gave, and so you want to
Yeah.
switch
Yeah.
it to another?
There has one time where it was.
And what is a good time window that you allow somebody to work on it?
I think when, for me, it was when the client I referred started complaining.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, you got to pull it right back.
Yeah,
Yeah.
at that
Cannot let
point,
it
you
go
have to do
on.
something. You
Okay.
can't not do something.
Yeah.
What kind of complaints?
Like, hey, I haven't heard from him in a couple of days. Like,
Oh, not responsive?
yeah, non-responsive. So I called him like, hey, well, actually, when I tried calling him, I couldn't get in touch with him either. So
Okay.
that was.
And mine was worse. I gave it to assistant team leader and it was 2 listings. And she failed to do what she promised she was going to do. She didn't follow up or anything. So I called the team leader and said, I can't use this person. Give me another person. And, you know, I knew that person too. But, you know, and that made it harder for me to do it. But I said, look, you're making me look really bad here. Your reputation's on the line. You have to pull the plug and get them someone who's going to help them.
Right.
That's your duty, you know,
Yeah.
fiduciary duty in a way.
You still need to protect your client.
Yeah.
One last note about Mega Camp, just the difference in classes. When you go to family reunions, a lot of introductory classes, tons of classes. But when you get Mega Camp, it's much more business focused, much more deeper level of classes. And I think that's what draws more serious agents to Mega Camp.
How many days is this?
I don't know how many, I haven't been yet. How many days is Mega Camp? It's less
I
than a
think
week.
it's a couple days.
Yeah.
2,
Like
3
3 or 4
days.
2, 3 days. Okay.
Yeah, and you're meeting up with a bunch of top
So there
agents
is, like,
all over, you know,
okay. Oh, wow.
all kinds of agents, right?
Yeah.
And you mastermind at these places.
Yeah.
So it's really cool because you have like minds, you're sharing, and that's what matters. Nobody asks you how much experience you have or anything like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
You just share.
I think what Harvey said is key, like minds.
Yeah.
That's actually in my notes here. You want to find someone who's in like mindset. Even so, in those cases, if you're a brand new agent of 2 months or a seasoned agent of 20 years, I don't care. If we think the same way, work the same way, we have like mindset, you know, I have confidence that you'll get the deal done because I know I'll get the deal done for you, then it'll be reciprocal. So that's a good point. Knowing when to refer. And this is where I mentioned earlier, it's still good to do a buyer's presentation with these leads or contacts before you send it out. Because 1, you don't know if you really actually do need to send it out. And 2, you need to know that client. So when you refer it out, you give that other agent that you're referring to the best chance of success to be able to close for you and to keep the client happy. Fee negotiation. It's anywhere between, I think in the book, it says between 10 to 35%. Industry standards about 25%. I've actually used this one time as kind of as a tactic to qualify the agent. I said, I want 35%. And they said, well, industry standard 25%. And I said, well, why 25? Tell me why. For me, I want to see if they can negotiate, right? If they can't negotiate and they say, okay, 35, then likely I'm may, they may want 35, but then they may not be able to get the deal done, right? So that's one way to qualify another agent on the other side. But aside from that, just go have a list of questions that you'd want to ask the other agent. So what would you like? What would you ask the other agent on the other side before you send them a referral? What are questions that you think would be good to ask?
First, like how familiar, how much expertise you are in the local area, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that how knowledgeable,
Mhm.
how resourceful, and what are you very responsive?
Mhm.
So I kind of maybe do some testing on the person, see,
So what kind of question would you ask? Like, how would you find that out?
or we'll just text him or her, right, and see how they respond, how long it takes them to respond.
Okay, response time is one.
Yeah, response time. So being responsive is very important for me.
Mhm. Mhm.
That's one reason.
Yeah,
One
response.
criteria for me to select a TC. So,
Mhm.
and also like yeah, so how many transactions?
Okay.
I think a number of transactions is important, but it's not super important. If
Mhm.
you have too many transactions, too many listings, right? Too many
Mhm.
customers, right? You don't have much bandwidth left for
Right.
my clients, right? I don't
Right.
want a super.
So you want someone who has done transactions before, but then you also want to know how many clients are currently working with,
Yes, that's super important.
Yeah.
How many? Yeah, how many he can serve? Yeah,
how many you can service, and how many you currently have.
yeah.
Currently.
I don't want my client go to the agent's assistant agent.
Right, right.
Yeah,
Okay, good, good.
this is like too tough, like
Yeah.
not super tough.
Any other questions? So response time, number of transactions that they've had, how many clients they're currently working with. What other questions would you ask another agent before you send them a referral?
I'd run my buyer requirements with them
Right.
and see what they come back to me, and if they're responsive enough to send me data on that in like a stipulated time frame, and that would show their eagerness to work
Uh-huh.
and address my buyer needs, and that'll instill confidence in me, I feel.
And see how they.
Who's handling the transaction?
Yes, who's handling the
Who's
transaction?
handling
If it's actually them, right?
Yeah.
Or
Or they
someone
work
else on
on a
the team.
team, then you
Yeah.
just get dumped off to somebody else.
Yeah.
It's a good one,
I don't want
Like,
that.
do they live in the area that the buyer wants to buy?
right? Mhm.
And I will check like what is their track record in making offer, successful record.
Okay,
Like if you take like show how many houses you show and then get a one winning offer.
right.
Or how many offers do you write to get a winning offer? So what is a track record?
Okay, offers to winning offer ratio. Okay. That's good. These are all great questions. I can write these down to them too. I think they're great questions. Yeah. So these are great questions to ask before you send someone up. But the last thing is the fee. So make sure you agree on that fee. Make sure you ask, because if you don't ask, then they may not think they owe you anything. So make sure that when you do that, you get that in writing. And we have a form in the car contracts that is a referral fee agreement.
Okay.
And I will show you that right now, actually.
So Brian, you mentioned like you test them out with 35% and then they come back with 25. So what is the reason they tell you? So they go back to check the other agent, how much they charge?
No, I mean, so no, if
No,
they
you
do that, then
You don't
I'd probably
test
take
out
away.
their negotiation, right?
Yeah, negotiation.
So
So
how did they negotiate with you?
one is they say that's the industry standard. They talk about the work that they're going to do.
Yeah.
So they can show you their value and show you what they plan to
Show
bring
the
to your
value.
clients in value. Like, I know these areas, I know it'll take at least, one offer for them to get to know the area, and then 2 offers to, most likely they'll get into contract with the 3rd offer, type of thing. Like, they can demonstrate their knowledge of their neighborhood, their expertise, and the knowledge of how they work with their clients, all in that conversation. And if you get a good sense from that, then feel free to move forward.
Each scenario is different too.
Yeah.
You can have it where you've been working with this client for a long period of time, and now they're relocating to this place and they only wanted to see these 2 homes.
Mhm.
And they have all cash, or could put down a larger down payment.
Mhm.
Then you can ask for 35% if everything is kind of set up for them.
Good point. I was just gonna say, based on what Kenny just said, I had a client who went to Pennsylvania and we found the house for her and everything. So if you find the house and they don't have to do anything but write it up, you can get asked for a little bit more.
Yeah.
That is fair, okay?
Mhm.
So
Would you go? Would you take a flight and go if you've reached that point?
if I go to LA, I'll do something like, I'll fly to LA. If I'm gonna help someone buy like a, $5-10 million home, I'll fly down there.
Like
We-
Kelly said, if it's all cash buyer, 2 properties shortlisted, that's it. Just
Yeah,
those
even if
lines.
it's not, I'd like to take a trip down to where for
Yeah.
the day, and you can do that, I mean, you may or may not, depending on your schedule, if you have
Yeah.
family
Right.
and stuff like that, but
What's your
I-
license? Like, you gotta stay in California.
Not out of state.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Within
Yeah.
state. I know.
within state, yeah, or maybe Nevada now, they have a place there. Yeah, you buy this place for 2.6, you get a Tesla with it, right? And so it's worth it, I'll spend some time in Vegas, yeah. There's
Like for me, like I went to Elk Grove because it's a new construction, so I knew that it's an easier process.
Mhm.
So I'll make that trek out there, knowing that of the 2 or 3 new constructions, they're gonna purchase one of those. Then it makes a lot more sense.
There was an agent that was with us before and KW. And it was during a really distressed period of time. And she made her living going to Central Valley, Sacramento, and she lived here. Or she lived in Cupertino, right?
Oh, wow.
But she went there and had all kinds of listings and things and did really well. So then she built up her, thing and then came further this way. Yeah, so, before you give your referrals away, which, if I'm not gonna go to Sacramento anymore, but,
Your
when
time
you,
is money too.
yeah,
Like, so you have to think about, where can I better my time if I'm doing something else with
yeah, best use of
those
time.
hours.
Mhm.
It's gonna take you all day to work with this one
Yeah.
house in LA.
Mm.
Could you do some lead generation and get another lead to, in those hours? So really quickly, this is the referral fee agreement form on CAR. You'll see I am in Keller Williams in Santa Clara Valley, and I'm referring this agent to Kenny Hahn, also in this office.
Lucky guy.
Yeah. So this is where if someone's with Keller Williams, you put that name in the brokerage here, or if it's with someone else,
Anyhow.
Colo Banker, you'll put that here. And here you put the name of the client, in this place, if they get Peterson. You can include their information here or not. Usually I put it here and in an email when I make that introduction. And here is where you put the percentage, 25% of the purchase price, or whatever, if it's a listing, 25% of the listing.
Can you send this with the referral?
So usually so I
Or
would make sure I
before.
get this signed.
First you get the signed,
First.
then the referral
Yeah.
comes, right?
Usually with Keller Williams agents, I'm a little more lenient because
Okay.
I feel like it's a little more
Same
trustworthy.
culture.
Same culture, exactly. But if it's someone outside of Keller Williams, I get to sign first before I send them anything.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What about this right after that, right there? What do you do there?
So here,
Not there, yeah, up
yeah,
there.
so
Mhm.
up here,
Yeah.
so this is if they've already entered into contracts to buy or to sell or to lease, then you would check these. So in this case, you've already done some work to get an offer accepted, or stuff
Well,
like that,
I'm
right?
talking about like enters or has already entered.
Yeah.
I check that box and I might until they purchase.
Okay.
Okay, I'm just because
Until.
some
Got it.
people will think it's just a year.
Mhm.
I said until they purchase, okay?
Until they sell.
Yeah. And I know one person, I didn't enter into contract, but she put for the next 5 years,
Oh.
So I've seen all kinds of things, but I'm just saying until they purchase.
Right.
Yeah.
I think that's good to put down because here the
Mhm.
default is 12 months.
Yeah,
So default is a year.
and then you lose them. What if they
Right.
don't, right? Because the
Mhm.
market changes or shifts or something, and you just never know.
Yeah.
So you have to specify that.
Oh, so over there, then you check the box and put like a.
Yeah.
60 months.
And then you might
Mhm.
have those kind of investor people. You might want to put a continuous thing there ongoing,
Mm,
throughout, because they're going to continue to buy.
okay.
So you want a little piece of that. Okay, so if I send someone to LA and they're buying investment properties or to Texas, I'm gonna keep that ongoing.
Where would you
And
put that?
Every purchase,
Mhm.
And I'll put like
other?
every purchase in that, up the top or other or something like that.
Mhm.
This is a continuous thing.
So what would you say?
What did I say? I actually
Ongoing.
verbally agreed with it, talked to them. I said, this is what I'm gonna do. And they said, they're okay. And then I think I put,
And under other,
it's like ongoing. I forget what I put in there. Maybe we should ask Mark what to put in there to be legal.
everybody ask Mark.
Yeah.
And then at the
Mark,
bottom of the
he's right
form-
there.
No. Mark is here.
What would you do with a referral that is going to continuously buy so that you could put it on the referral agreement and just continuously have that ongoing? Is there a way to do it, or do you have
There
to?
is just look at the second line there, it specifies, you just put buyer buys however many houses in the area. Where you're specifying what the terms of the referral are.
Okay,
You
like
can
right
write it
here?
in there.
What would you say? What would the language you use?
Or, so the goal is that the buyer's gonna buy several and you're gonna get a referral on all of them.
Yeah.
Right, so for every buyer purchase from period Y to period Z.
Just put for every buyer,
Every,
buyer purchase, for every buyer purchase.
okay,
I think I like that.
for every buyer purchase, for every purchase
Yeah, for every buyer purchase.
for,
For every
So-
buyer,
5 years.
Every buyer, for every transaction from this client.
Okay, for every purchase.
And do,
Yeah,
and do you take the referral fee the same at each transaction?
According to this, yes.
Yeah,
Yes. Oh, okay.
What you negotiate, but yeah,
because there's no guarantee that they're gonna get that many, but if sometimes you work with people, I told Brian earlier, last year I took one where I got 4 transactions off the same person.
Yeah.
And it was a referral.
Mhm.
So, and I gave that person without them even telling me, right?
Mhm.
Or asking for it. They just wanted the one, but I just gave them 4. I gave them 4 referral fees. They didn't
Mm.
ask for it,
okay,
but that's the kind of relationship you build up.
Mm.
So I know I'm gonna get more from that person.
yeah.
So I'll do the same for them. Yeah.
And then at the bottom is just the broker's information. It says broker or office manager. I always tend to just make sure I get the broker signature, just to make it official. And if you don't know the office tax ID, it's here, or ask Stacy, and you get that from her. And that's the form.
And sometimes clients also ask to interview several agents down there or the area that you're referring to, and I'll have them sign both.
Yeah, so you're not limited to one, and you can go back and forth. So yeah, just to review, the steps are go find that agent, interview them, and once you're comfortable, introduce them and send them or get this referral fee agreement signed, and then send them the contact information and send your referral on your way.
And you cannot pay the referral fee for a non-agent, right? People.
Has to be a licensed agent, yes.
So only pay the referral fee for the agent. If another people, like just your friend, if they send a referral, you cannot pay them. Just like pay at a gift.
Okay.
Right, so this is if you're, so this form specifically is if you're sending another client to work with another agent to get
Okay.
the referral feedback from you.
Okay.
Yeah. And then this next thing, I think the last part is, yeah, you want to prospect the market to other agents. And that's where we talked about networking at different events and conventions and things like that. The next thing I want to bring, because the rest of this presentation will take you through looking up different agents on KW white pages. That's really old now. So the next thing would be in Command. We've got a place where we can look up other agents. So the cool thing is, if you already have in mind someone that you want to send a referral out to, you can look them up here first. If we go down to referrals, this is just a dashboard of all the agents in my database. You can tag them differently, maybe in different areas. Yeah, I can invite other agents from other areas. So I have pending invites to these different people around the country. Go back. But the cool thing is, these other status of other invites. This tab here is where you keep track of referrals that have been sent out or received. I don't have any active right now, but I can still show you what things have been funded. So these are ones that I sent out that have been closed and funded. These two were two listings that I sent out to Austin. This was a buyer that I sent out to Oregon. This was a buyer to the one I talked about earlier, to Myrna. That was a Spanish-speaking client. So you have the record of all those there. Here, if you click under map, this is where you can find people.
Here's the cool part.
This is the cool one. So anywhere in the country, you just type in where you want to go. I'm just gonna keep it simple, and we'll look for Santa Clara. So you can see how relevant it is. So now the map zooms into Santa Clara. You see all these different numbers for all the different agents in the area. You could also look for sort by market center. So say we're looking in the Bay Area. I want to find someone in a specific market center. Now you see this map is segregated, shows you all the different market centers are. So you want to find someone from Santa Clara Valley. I'll click on that. A little bit. Now we're seeing all these different agents in this area. It's still all a bunch in the area. So now you can look for what you want to look for. I can sort by closed units, the ones that are the busiest. Say I want to look for someone who's done the most buyers. Daniel Odom, Chris Alston, Satyajit, sorry. All these are KW agents in the area. Radha, Cupertino.
Can you get a Coco Tan?
Sure, we can look at Coco Tan.
She's a top agent, Campbell.
She is. So this is, you know, when you first set up your KW account profile, all that information goes here. So then that's why it's important. So then other KWs, when they look on your profile, they can see what you've done. So this is her profile. If I go here, click down, you can see she's done 159 closed units.
So she's a very busy agent.
She's very busy.
So somebody might not like the agent. So she has a team.
Yeah, she has a team.
Refer her, somebody else under her might work, not her.
Exactly.
That's a problem.
So this is an example of someone that might be too busy to work directly with your client.
Yeah.
You see that she's on 159 closed units, 103 listings.
It's hard to get on the phone with her.
Yes, right. And you'll find out quickly if you try to call her, right? Because you have her information here. So you know that's not really a person that you may want to send a referral to. But you just keep going down. And then when you find someone you want to meet, say, I don't know this person, but oops, Fan Wong in Cupertino. Looks like he pretty busy guy, 30 buyers, 2 listings in the last year. You want to connect with them. Just click this icon and send an invitation. Love to connect. Command. Send an invitation. Oh, something went wrong.
So funny, both Coco Tan and Radha Rastagi.
Radha, yeah.
I mentored them. I actually hired
really?
Radha at
You
the
mentor
first,
Coco Tan?
the first places, yes.
Where?
KW Cupertino.
In Cupertino?
Yeah, and she was a different company. Radha was, I brought her in when I was at Remax, and she came to KW Cupertino.
Now, when you get to a point where you want to send the referral, another thing that's nice in Command is you can track it. So then as they update the status of the transaction in their Command with opportunities, you'll get those updates here. And they can send you messages directly through Command. And then you can, this is where you can enter all the status, all the details of the buyer. Their budget is from 1 million to 5 million, say. Any special notes? Must have good schools. And then you can pull that client's information from your database. So if I go and look, this is one contact that I can send. You can tell him if he's pre-approved, pre-qualified, either or, both or neither. and then their address, and then where they're looking for a home. So looking for something in Gilroy. So you can put all that information here, and timeline is where they expect to buy. If it's in the next month, the next 6 months, you can designate it here. So then they have an idea, and you have that expectation that's set between you of what that could look like. Now, I'm not going to send this because I don't know this person, but I can also change it. Say I want to send this to Kenny Han. So I know I can change it here. And I have all this in place. I can also change referral fee. Say it's, you know, Kenny, all Kenny has to do is write the paperwork, and I've already done it. Done the home search, we went to disclosures and everything. I just need him to write the offer. Then it could be 50%, who knows? If I want to send this, I'll send it. And then since he's already in my network, it should show up here in my referrals. So I sent one to Kenny yesterday. Is this today or yesterday? This was today's. And so this is the information for the agent that you send this referral to, and then the client's information is here. And if you want updates, you click on here and you can communicate back and forth. If Kenny has an update, you can put it here, and then you'll see the update. If it's they've moved us to write an offer, that's accepted, you'll see the status updates here. Just to go back and check. Let's see here. This is a good one. Tiffany Danley from Oregon. If I go back and look at her notes, she gave me updates on every single status. Thanks for the referral. Opportunities created. 23 days later, offer was accepted. 30 something days later, referral was funded. So it was closed and referral was sent over. And so that was done. So nice and easy. During that time, I didn't do anything other than keep in touch with the client and keep in touch with the agent. And all these notes here are tracking command, and you'll just get a check in the mail. Yeah, and then this is another pending one. What's the pending? I sent you another one.
Oh, great, 50%, I'll take this one.
Yeah. Yeah, okay. So those are the pending ones. So when you get referrals, you'll get them here too, the receipt section. So you can manage your referrals that way. And if you just want to see.
I was just saying, that's really cool.
Yeah.
I don't go into command much, but I love seeing all these things you teach and know about. It's great.
Yeah. And so when you talk to, if you call the team leader at another market center, figure out what agents you want to interview, look them up before you call them.
Yeah.
Yeah. Look them up, see what information, and see if what they're telling you is actually the truth, or if they're stretching it a little bit. And then can you figure out what the best option is for your clients. Any questions so far? Good, good. So I think it's a lot of information. Give me top 3 ahas. Like what are things that you learned about that you didn't know, or that you'll take with you?
Mega camp.
Mega camp, networking, networking with other agents.
Yeah.
That's huge. Yeah.
Think of yourself as a mega agent.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Seriously, yeah.
Be a like-minded mega agent.
Nobody, you're an actress,
Mhm.
and today you're a mega agent. Every day you think that. Seriously,
So
okay?
cool.
Yeah. There you go.
Okay.
You are a mega agent.
Yeah, I didn't know you can
You say that's your information.
from the
I'm a
command.
mega agent.
Oh,
I
yeah.
didn't know that. That's cool.
Yeah, a lot of resources in command. Not a lot of people know about it or use it. I mean, you
Oh,
can see.
Can you, since you're in command, can you show other cool functions in command?
Let's finish off with this first.
Okay.
We still have another section to complete, and I think I only have half an hour to do it. But you can tell that not a lot of people use it because
But there's a command workshop that he does, which is right there.
Yeah.
It's coming
Ooh.
next week.
Yeah, next week.
Yeah.
Mhm. I have pending invites that I sent out to other people to invite, and I think this one's been February 6th of 2022. This is from last year. This is over a year old that they've been sitting there. And if people are not in command, they won't see this.
So after you send the invite, and what do you do next if they don't respond?
If they don't respond at all,
Yeah.
well, I'll call them.
People
I'll call them. Did you get the invite? Like, accept it. So once I send it, I'll let them know.
That means that they might not be interested. Right.
Well, everyone should be interested in the lead
Yeah.
coming in. But if they're not interested, I'd be happy to find someone else.
Too bad.
Yeah, and they need to respond quickly. Like if they want it, they need to respond to this same day. Like if they wait a day, even one day, then I'm gonna pull it and find someone else who's gonna hustle for my clients.
That's right.
Yeah.
I'm that person.
Yeah, yeah, because you're gonna do the same for their clients, so they've got to do the same for you.
Totally.
You know, when someone's interviewing you, because they want to find out if you're going to take it, right? You have to tell them what you're willing to do because nobody else is going to tell them.
Yeah.
So you have to say, yeah, hey, I'm a reliable and dependable agent. You know, I show up on time.
How
I
you
take
stand
care
out.
of you. Yeah.
Mhm.
Because if you don't say it, nobody else will, right?
Yeah. One more aha. Anybody online?
Business planning clinic and plan for next year.
Business planning clinic and plan for next year. That's very important. Because then you can plan for all your different lead gen tactics.
Yeah.
How many people you need to call, how many people, how many open houses you need to go to get leads, the number of open house leads that you want. And now you can factor in how many agents you need to contact to get, 1 or 2 referrals from them, or how many referrals you plan to get. Good. Great. So I think that concludes the agent to agent referral section. The next section is the business planning part of it. Do you guys want to take a break or you just want to power through? A quick 5 minutes. A coffee. Okay. All right. We'll take a quick 5-minute break and then we'll start the last section.
How long is the last
Been
section,
drinking
Fran?
all kinds of
We'll be
things.
done at 3.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Not related to the referral, but I want to add that the office have a lead gen through social media class.
Oh, you want a lead gen social media class?
Yeah, if you have those things.
We don't have a lead gen for social media class per
Yeah,
se,
I
but
want to do
we can
it
talk
on
about.
Facebook because
Yeah, I mean, I think,
You know, Zach Unger, he
Yeah.
teaches that kind of stuff.
yeah, I mean, we have ways to market on social media. And I think social media is better for marketing than it is for actual prospecting. Prospecting, actually, it can work both ways.
because I think most of my friend and thing is from Facebook, but they're not in California, they're around the state. Yeah.
So we can talk about, we can take this offline, but talk about different social media strategies. There have been different ratios where I've heard some people post like 2 personal posts on your Facebook page to 1 business post. Some people say 50-50.
Well,
But I think it's
I actually
whatever.
No, I would not. Okay, sorry to interrupt.
Yeah.
Or speak over you. Don't mean to do that, but if I'm gonna post on Facebook, I only post 1 real estate posting, maybe out of 5 to sometimes 10.
Yeah.
There's people who just post about their accomplishments, how much money they're making. They're not fun. I mean, Facebook is supposed to be fun. After a while, I don't even look at their stuff.
Right.
I want to know about, you want people to know about you, get to know you, be a friend, that kind of thing, and by the way, every time you post, every like you get, okay, and you just want to keep them top of mind that you don't real estate, every like that you get is $97 of marketing, okay? Just so you know.
Right. And there's not one way to do it.
Right.
I mean, I think I prefer a method like Harvey's. I don't post a lot on social media in general, but I try to post more
I see your
personal than
stuff
I
all
do.
the time. That's
Try to post more personal than business.
Yeah.
Because if you just post business, like Harvey said, people just ignore it
They
after a
get
while.
turned off.
Yeah.
They know what you're about, right?
Like how deep is your personal post? How much do you want to show?
As much as you're
Your
comfortable.
personal life.
As much as you're comfortable.
Yeah.
I mean, I have 2 kids, but I don't post any
Yeah.
pictures of them online.
You want people to know who you are to be your friend.
Right. Mhm.
You know, I just made this
There are a lot
business
of
card.
scammers there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, post things that you are interested in. So I like to eat. Some people love posting food,
Okay.
like pictures of food, hiking,
Yeah,
other
hiking-
things that you're
hiking,
into.
hiking.
So you attract people with the same interests.
Oh,
I like sports, so I'll post things. I used to post things when I played sports, when I was
Yeah.
out playing volleyball, you know, picture of the court and the score and our league,
Yeah.
our team, stuff like that. Things that you that will also interest other people.
Yeah.
One
Oh,
example I can give in Las Vegas, there's this guy, his name is I forget his name, Albie something. He has a YouTube page, Facebook page dedicated to mountain biking, but that's all he posts: mountain biking, mountain biking, mountain biking.
Mhm.
And he gets a ton of people because he posts like reviews on mountain biking gear, on bikes, and videos of him going on a ride, like hour-long videos of him riding on the mountains. But then he gets tons of business from it because it's connected to his personal site, which is also connected to his
Same
real estate
interest,
site. So those people are interested in him, and he's active on these mountain biking boards, mountain biking blogs. And so they see his mountain biking page, like, oh, he's a cool guy. Like, what's he like? Like, oh, I'm in Las Vegas too. And then they go to his personal page, and then they see that he also has a real estate page, and he posts some mixed stuff on his personal page about mountain biking and real estate. So that's one way he draws people in. He draws people in with his interest, what attracts him, that's what people go to him for, like with mountain biking. But then they get to know him, and they know he's in real estate, and then he gets business from it. That's just one way he gets business, not the whole way, but he gets exercise. He loves it. He still gets
So
business from
maybe
it.
I should do post more hiking. I
Yeah.
love hiking, so
Yeah. Mhm.
just attract the calming-minded people.
Right. Yeah. I've always thought real estate is a good license for people, for agents to go and do things that they enjoy.
Yes,
Because that way you
that's
meet
true.
people who also enjoy it, and then you're excited about the same thing, and you can develop more deeper relationships. And then you talk about real estate, and then
That's right.
they'll be more likely to refer people to you
Yeah.
because they know you.
You know,
So
an
like
easy thing.
you post more about like your personal life. What do you want to do? Right?
Yes. Well, I should.
You know, talk about things you enjoy.
Mhm.
Recommend restaurants, recommend movies, recommend activities.
Mhm.
And people are going to gravitate to you, like all the different types of
And
people.
then you make it all public, right?
Oh, yeah, that's fine, but you can do this too. You can go in your neighborhood and just walk around the block if you don't already have it, and start a neighborhood watch. Eventually, those people are going to see your name when you respond, because people want to keep their place safe. You want to know who your neighbors are. So for me, for example, when I did that, they started seeing my email address and my signature line with where I work and everything. I never said anything about it, but people will call me and ask me about real estate. Or what I'll do is I'll post something, by the way, for safety, because I'll talk about safety. I'll say, go to Costco. They have those kind of sensitive security lights that are up there. I'll say they're on sale. So people will get them because they want to protect each other. And then eventually, because you're on their email list, it shows up somehow on Facebook. Hey, you want to connect with this person because they're there? Next thing I know, I'm connecting with most of those people on my Facebook.
Mhm.
And then they see.
So you use your Facebook to connect, for example, next door, right?
No, I do not do next door. Okay, because I'll be honest, there's too many criminals on there watching what we're doing. I don't want to
Oh.
communicate.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
I never communicate on. They're watching so that they know where you're at, what you're doing, so they could be better at what they're doing. Being a criminal, I won't do that.
Okay,
Interesting.
okay.
Yeah, that's
Interesting.
just me. Okay, so I know that happens. You know, we know that there was people on the next door in my area,
Mhm.
and so I just won't do it, anymore. We just stay within our neighborhood watch group
Yeah. Mhm.
and or Facebook or whatever. Just
Yeah.
start a Google group.
Yeah.
And then everybody gets to see your signature. They know what you're doing. And when someone comes with a concern, add into it, chime in, say something. you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll teach you just one more example of that happened, a personal example. I played volleyball. I played in a league. I played open gym, and I post some stuff on Facebook. And so people who play volleyball with me, they know that I'm a realtor. And so I've actually gotten maybe 3 or 4 pieces of business through my volleyball group. The thing is, you have to, when you're there, you have to ask for it. So I never talk about real estate. We just go, we play volleyball.
How do you ask?
And then just one day I said, hey, you guys know anybody who's thinking about buying or selling? And then one of my teammates said, yeah. I'm like, but I thought you would be too busy. I'm like, no, I'm not too busy. What is it? Let me know. So sometimes they're not afraid to bring it up because they think you might be too busy or they don't want to bother you. I said, it's not bothering me. What can I help you with? And so that ended up turning out to be a listing in that. So it's good to just do the things you enjoy and don't be afraid to share about those things. You don't have to share everything about your life. If you look on social media, people don't post everything. They only post like maybe 10% of their life, the 10 best things they want to show off to people. So you can be the same way. Post the 10% of things that you want people to see. That you're out hiking, that your activity or hobby.
So like you try to add everyone in that the club that you join, add them on your Facebook, and then sometimes you throw a post on it.
Yeah, so I mean, when we're talking about or we're playing volleyball or whatever the case is, if you enjoy hiking, just focus on that. Build relationships first, and then when those relationships get a little deeper, and then every once in a while, if you meet them face to face or chat, just bring it up every once in a while.
Yeah.
Usually, if they find out that I'm doing an open house, they'll ask me, "How's the market? How is it? How are interest rates? Things like that," and then use that opportunity to talk about it more. So oftentimes they bring it up if they get to know you and they know you're in real estate. One way you could try to bring it up is first ask them about what they're doing, how their job is. Like, how's work going for you, this week? It's like, oh, it's okay. Like, how about you? Usually that's the response. So it's one way to try to bring that up.
Wow.
Sound good, Sarah?
So good. I have a lot of thought and things like I really want to do, but don't know where to start. Yeah, but thank you. Whenever I talk with someone experienced in the office, it gives me like motivated to do a little bit more.
Gotcha. Okay.
Okay.
That's good. That's good. That's why we come into the office to help each other.
I'm in the same boat. You're not alone.
Yeah, we're all in the same boat. I'm in the same boat too.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I think my strategy when I only try to add more people that I know on my Facebook, and then when they come to my Facebook, they're gonna read that I'm a real estate agent without need to introducing anything, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
It definitely helps.
Because normally my personal Facebook before, I never posted public or anything because I normally share my family, but now I decide to put it public and add more people that not really know well, but I'll just add people in.
Yeah. That's good. Good. Okay, this last section is on your goals and living your goals. I don't know how much I'm going to cover. Reason is because I would recommend everyone taking the business planning clinic, because this information that they're asking me to cover, in, well, now it's maybe 20 minutes now, usually takes all day. The clinic is like 6 hours. They'll go through the whole process, explain all the different models, the business model, lead generation model, organizational model, to help you plan, customize those models for your business, to help you plan your activities for the whole next year. So based on that model, you have a goal of how much money you want to make. Like, say you want to make 200,000 in GCI next year. What does that really mean? If you plan to get 50-50 in listings, you have 10 listings, or however many listings, you can run those numbers and flush out how many listings and how many buyers you need to get in the contract. And then from that, you can figure out, okay, if I need to get 8 buyers and 8 listings, how many appointments do I need to get those listings? So if I need 8 listings, maybe I need to have 8 listing agreements signed because maybe 2 will follow contract. And to get to 10 listing agreements signed, how many listing appointments do I need? And let me just go and get to an example. Here, I'm skipping through a bunch. So these different conversion rates, they'll have for you in the business planning clinic. These are basic assumptions from Keller Williams research, from old history that they've used. And this doesn't necessarily apply to everyone, and it could be a little bit different. But if you don't have any other information, these are good numbers just to estimate with. And then as you go along, you can change it, right? So one example is, so this, actually, let me show you what would actually mean. So if we go here, say you want 36 transactions a year. We split that up, you want half listings and half buyers. And out of these, this means that if you take 27.7, well, so the conversion rate is 65% according to the estimate. That means that 65% of the homes you list will actually sell. So, but we know here in the Bay Area, that percentage is much higher, like almost 100%. So at least say 90%. Maybe a little bit lower now because the market is a little different these days, but it's still, pretty good percentage they close. So we know that this conversion rate is a little different, but for purposes of estimating, we can just go through the model. If you want to close 18 listings, then we go through the conversion rate, which means you need to take 27.7 listings to get to that 18, if not all of them sell. But to get to 27 listings, we need to go on 35 listing appointments. So how do you get 35 listing appointments, right? That's in a year. But the lead generation model will break it down. So that means, say it's 30, we'll round up to 35. Let's round to 36, just for easy numbers. You need 36 listing appointments in the year. If we break it down by month, that means you need 3 listing appointments every month. Sounds a little more doable than 36, right? We look at each month of what we need to do. So how do you get 3 listing appointments every month? How many people do you call from your sphere? How many agents do you call for referrals? How many times, how many cold call? How many doors do you have to knock on?
Yeah.
And then you can figure out from there and plan with a productivity coach or with your coach, what the best method to get those appointments and to get those listings. I'm not going to go through all that
So
here.
how many do you get per year?
Per year?
Yeah.
Listings? I think this year I've had 6, I think. Yeah, which is most listings I've had. And it depends, who you talk to. All agents are a little different. I think Alan gets like 50. No, I don't think it's, maybe not 50. 50, I think, between the whole team. Maybe 45. We can look it up. But, yeah, so it depends on so you can see where you need to go. I guess one thing I want to touch on before you move forward, the business planning clinic, and when you plan for next year, the most important thing is your big why. Like why are you doing it in the first place? What's important to you? Why is it important to you to hit those numbers? And the reason that's important is because, who likes to cold call? Nobody, right? So what's gonna be more painful, like not making the call, or making the call, or the pain you'll feel from not reaching your goal, right? So it has to be a really important big why. Like if you don't hit that goal, it's gotta hurt, right? So one thing that I've heard from somebody is that if you really want to stay accountable to your goal and your big why, tell your kids, like, hey, if I can sell 10 homes, 10 listings, then I'll take you to Disneyland at the end of the year. So you'll know every day, they're gonna ask you, did you sell the homes? Did you sell the homes? Did you sell them? So that's gonna be painful, right? If I go back and tell my daughter, no, I didn't sell enough homes, we can't go to Disneyland, that's gonna break her heart.
Oh.
You don't want to do that, right? So is that enough to motivate
Motivation,
you
yeah.
to make those calls, to do what you need to do to get those listings? So what are your big whys? Do you have one yet? I know you guys are newer agents, but it's not always an easy question. Do you have a big why? Or what is it?
Well, I have some financial goals to meet
Gotcha.
year on year,
Yeah, okay.
and that's my big why.
So what one of the guidelines they say here is it can't be a financial goal. It's more because they say it's more about paying bills.
Yeah.
So bills and money, that's just no side effect. What is it can that money do for you? Like it has to be a personal, like very personal reason. Like taking, if
Live better.
it's better, okay. So
better
what does that
home,
mean? Better home?
Better
Okay.
home, better school district.
Okay, so you want to move. So you want a new home in a better school district.
Yeah.
Okay, that's a great.
This is,
Yeah. How about you, Jenny?
I have very big goal. I probably don't really want to share.
That's okay. The more you share it, the more people can keep you accountable.
Oh, no.
It may be pressure, but pressure is good.
What is your question?
What is your big why? Why do you want to sell the amount of homes you want to sell?
In the future, sometime in the future, I will be able to run a nonprofit.
Okay,
Help more people who are
Okay.
in need. So that's kind of big right now.
okay. That's still okay. If that's something that's very important to you. Like, I'll tell you that one of Yvette's big whys is to help the homeless. And that's very, very important to her.
Connects with my goal.
Yeah, yeah. And that really is why she does a lot of the business, because she loves to give money away. It's really important for her to be able to support people that have no money or doesn't have the means. And that drives her. Like she thinks if that doesn't happen, she doesn't make enough money, then she can't do that. And that really affects her. It's really important for her to do that. So it's got to be a cause that you're really passionate about. So I think that's also really, really good. Big why.
It's kind of too big.
Yeah.
It's
Well,
a-
I mean,
for me, like, yeah, something that I want to do, but it's too big right now.
well, don't think it's too big. You can do it.
Too big, I
Right.
know.
I mean, so for me, my big why this year is to be able to make enough so my wife doesn't have to work. You know, and to be able to support the kids to every, you know, so they can have what they need, but only if I agree to it. So it's not like they can't have something because you can't afford it. But they can't, like, I'm not going to give them everything they want because I choose it, not because I can't afford it. So that's one of my big whys, just to be able to provide everything that they could want, but not necessarily give it to them. Right? It's my choice, but not, you know, we buy them a toy every day or something. Like that's not something I want to do. But if I wanted to, if I could afford it, then I want to be able to afford it. So that's one of my big whys. And that's what we'll spend a big portion of the beginning of the business planning clinic to make sure that's important to you to reach those goals. And then we can plan out, you know, what does it really mean to reach those goals. And once you have that, we can go here into command. What they've just released to command is where now you can start to track your 2023 goals. Am I sharing the screen? I'm sharing the screen. Screen sharing is paused. Why is it paused? Can you see my screen, Sarah? I'll resume share.
I saw prospecting and marketing.
Yeah,
Okay.
we are just able to see the slides.
Gotcha. Okay. Did you see command when I was on command earlier?
No, we were not able to see.
Oh, the last, like maybe half an hour ago?
Yeah, I
yeah.
mean, it was just slides.
It's just the
Oh,
slide.
no. Okay, well, before I was here in this referrals tab and going through how to find referrals within Keller Williams. I think the most important one was here in the maps.
No,
But we
I
still
think we
see
still not
the-
see it. Not see it.
Still not seeing it. What do you see now?
Still the same.
The same. Okay, let me stop and reshare.
Okay, I see you now. But see the screen now. Like you and who is it?
Okay. Do you see my command screen with a map on it?
Yes.
Okay. So here I am in the referrals tab and I clicked under map, and you can use this to search for any agent in the area. So I'll just type in really quickly Santa Clara, and it'll zoom into the Bay Area. And if say I'm looking for a referral agent, I'll zoom in a little bit. It takes a little time, but it'll start to populate with all the different agents that work in that area. We can also sort by market center. So now you'll see here, go down a little bit. This is our market center in Santa Clara. And these are all the agents in the area. And we can look if you're looking for a referral agent, you can find out more information about them. Connect with them, their email address, a lot of times their phone number is here, their production, how many units they've closed, how many listings, how many buyers they've worked with. So then you get an idea of how productive they are before you send them a referral. And then you click on this icon here to connect with them. Let's connect on command.
Did you find?
And then send an invitation.
Did you guys find it?
I think that's sent. Okay, that's sent.
So all of these agents also use command, so they in KW.
So before you call them to make sure that they're on command and that they know that the invitation is coming and they accept
So
it.
what
Because then you can use it to track your referrals. So these are examples of referrals that I sent out and referrals that have been closed that I sent out before. There's 5. It's updating. So if you want to see more, feel free to book some time with me, or I can go over this with you individually. But I need to finish this class real quickly. Goals. Once you go through the business planning clinic and you know what you need to do, you can put it here under 2023 goals. And it'll break down how many. So if I want to reach a certain goal, right now I know my goal is to have 12 closed units. That means I need to have at least 18 under contract, because not all contracts close. Like sometimes homes will follow the contract. It just happens. In order to get 18 under contract, I need to have 22 agreements. So 22 clients to actually work with. To get those 22 clients, I need 30 appointments. So 30 buyer appointments or listing appointments to get to those 22. Back it out even further. How many appointments do I need to set? Because sometimes you set an appointment, but they don't show up. Like I book a buyer's appointment, they say, oh, I got to cancel, and then it never happens. So we need to book 40 to get to 30. And then the hard part is getting here. How many contacts do I need to contact to get to 40 appointments? 800. How many leads do I need to meet? How many people do I need to meet to get to 800? 16,182. Now this number is, if you just look at that number, it's a little daunting because that's a huge number. But if you break it down by your sphere, and then there's another ratio for every 12 people in your database should equal 2 transactions. So that should reduce this number that you need here. And I think it's for every 50 people you don't know should equal 1 transaction. And these are estimates based on old statistics, how many people, actual data that Keller Williams has collected throughout the years. So you can keep track of it here. And to do that is go to goal settings.
Yeah, we'll definitely discuss it. All right, well, thanks, man. I appreciate your call.
And this will help you set your goals and review your goals periodically. Now, this is where you can set your goals for the year. So for 23, I set my goal here for, I want to make $200,000 profit. So that means $200,000, not GCI, but after all your expenses.
Net.
Yeah, your net. So you plug in what you want to net at the end of the year, right? And then what your expenses could be. I think it's generally like 30% or whatever is the estimate. So your expenses could be more, could be less, depending on how your business goes. But these, again, are just estimates. And then you decide what makes up your business. Is it more listings, more buyers? Say it's, I don't know, say 35% listings and 65% buyers. And then listings, I just based it off of 3.5%. Oops, that's not it. And of $1 million, and for buyers commission, average commission, 2.5% of $1 million. So that's just kind of average. I'll have some more, have some less, and it'll break it down. How many listings you need.
So the price you use is formula?
Yeah,
Average?
you can use average million or whatever your business dictates for you. Some people like to focus on condos, or depending on the neighborhood you want to focus on, stuff like that. Maybe it's 2 million, maybe it's 3 million. It depends on you and your business. What is realistic for you and your business?
How much you charge?
I'm sorry?
For listing, you charge 35?
3.5%. Yeah. So this is the breakdown, what it is for what your business looks like. So including expenses and everything, I need to make 320,000 in GCI to net 200,000. If I continue
200,000 is before or after tax?
before taxes,
Or before tax?
after all business expenses, but also before taxes. And then these are all the different ratios of conversion to get to that business, different expenses. You can just leave it as a standard for now, use the recommended rates, or you can set individual if you know what your conversion rates are. And continue to the end. And then you set the goal. And this will break it down. Yeah. To those numbers that you saw earlier. So you can get down to how many people you need to contact and how many people you need to have in your database. If you break it down by month or by week, it makes things much easier to manage.
Yeah.
Like instead of thinking I need 24,000 leads, like every week, I need to call 20 people or whatever the number is. So it's a lot easier to focus on that, but you don't know what that number is unless you go through the annual goal and then break it down to make it easier to chunk it down. And then the most important thing, I think, yes.
Do you think the numbers are still same in the current market? Like what you're saying, that if you reach about, 12 people, if you make contacts, you might at least get 8. If you contact 12 leads or follow up 12 appointments, you will get, because what I have seen from the past open houses and from the leads that right now, nobody turns up back. So it's like, I'm not sure if something, it's with the market or if it is something, but we are doing less because that is the number which I think is not working for me for sure.
Right, and it's just an estimate, and that 16 to or 12, was it 16? What did I say? 16 to 2 ratio is only for people in your sphere of influence. So it's only for people that know you, trust you, and already have an established relationship with you to work with you. The 50 to 1 ratio is more for people that you don't know. So if you meet someone at open house, that ratio is closer to 50 to 1. So I think that's what you're seeing more. But again, they're just estimates. Everyone, depending on their skill set, their experience, and the type of clients they meet, that ratio is going to vary a little bit. But
Got it.
Like I said, it's just an estimate. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So we're getting up to 3 o'clock. I know this second section was pretty short, but I recommend everyone going to the business planning clinic to get more details, to focus on the actual numbers, because they'll take a good 6 hours of the day. They'll feed you lunch to go through the plan and then give you the time to go through your own plan. And then they'll give you personal help if you need it to figure out what you need to do on a daily basis to meet your goals so you'll be successful next year.
Have a meeting for that plan?
It's called the Business Planning Clinic. I think there's one happening in Silicon City today, I think, right?
That's one you need to pay like 179, right?
Yeah, it's happening in Silicon City next week, and there are various ones that are around. I don't think we have one planned for this office yet, but I'm sure it'll happen. So I highly recommend taking the Business Planning Clinic. I know agents, I've been doing it. I've done it every year, and a lot of agents do it every year still, just to get that plan done.
Yep, it's a nice way to gear up for the next year.
Yeah, and it's usually done November, December, when there's not a lot of activity, so you can plan for what you need to do. So then once January comes around, you already have your plan in place. You don't have to figure out what you need to do. You already know what you need to do when the new year comes, and you can hit the ground running.
So usually when you plan it, how far at the end of the year?
Plan to the end of the year.
No. I mean, like you plan this year, at the end of next year, when you look back, so how far away from your goal?
Well, I think it's important to periodically look at your goals. Actually, let me show you.
Do you usually hit or exceed your goal?
Yeah, so I think it's important to periodically look at your goals to see where you are. If you're close to meeting your goals, if you're not close to meeting your goals, so you can figure out if you need to do more, if you need to focus on buyers more, focus on listings more, if I need to call more people. On the screen now, Sarah, do you see a spreadsheet in front of you?
Yes, yes, sir.
Okay,
This year?
so this is something we have on our team that we use to track our activity. So every week we track these things, how many doors we knock on, if we go door knocking, how many events or open houses we do.
Can you share it with us?
Let me check with Yvette, because Yvette owns this, before sharing with you. I'm sure she doesn't have a problem with it. I want to make sure it's okay with her first. How many posts we put on social media, how many note cards we send out, how many care calls we call. And care calls, we define that as people that are already in our sphere of influence. How many cold calls? And those are people like we just meet, we haven't met. Open house people, those are cold calls we count. And then we look at our appointments, how many seller appointments we booked, listing appointments, how many actually we actually went on, how many listing agreements we signed, how many listings we get an offer accepted, and then what the transactions are, if how many closed and what the amount of that transaction is. And then the same for buyers, how many buyers appointments we booked, how many actually happened, how many buyers agreements and showings and offers we wrote. So we can keep track of all these numbers. So then we know what our conversion rate is at the end of the year to help us plan for the next year.
What is the conversion rate? What is your current conversion?
I don't know, from which one, which conversion rate? So from,
Let's see.
You could do it from like, you
Yeah.
know, buyers that you booked for appointments and executed.
yeah,
You can also do conversions for
say,
offers written and offers accepted.
we go so super high level. How many buyers appointments
Yeah.
booked gets to
the
number of
to
transactions?
the transactions, yeah.
Where is it? 19%, according to this.
19?
Mhm.
Oh,
Did I do that right?
What?
10 divided by, that's probably right. 20%. And that's the whole total high level, not from step
Yeah.
to step.
buyers
So then,
performance.
I mean, that's reality, right? That's what, sometimes it's what it takes. Like, not
Buyers
everyone you
are-
meet at an open house is gonna have, make an
Yeah.
appointment with you.
Yeah.
Not everyone you meet at an open house that makes an
Yeah.
appointment with you is gonna show up. And not everyone who shows up is actually
How
gonna
about
go out to look at
sellers?
homes.
90% or 80%?
Um,
Seller appointment good to transactions.
uh,
Close.
That's always gonna be higher.
yeah,
Maybe,
sellers
yeah,
are gonna be higher
80
usually.
or 90.
Mhm.
From
100%.
sold, from appointments booked to sold,
Oh, 14 over 34.
so
Oh,
41%.
okay. Half.
Yeah.
Wow.
So you don't get every appointment that you go on a listing appointment for. And that's normal.
40%.
Yeah, which tells me I need to get better at my listing presentation. Right, so then it tells you a little bit more about your business. We review ours at least once a week, some of these numbers, and then we go more in depth, probably once a month. So it's important to review your goals. And I think halfway through in June, July, we were all behind in our goals. So we adjusted our goals to make it more realistic.
So do you guys have, what is the percentage of door knocking? What is the success rate? I just want to know like how
Door knocking?
efficient door knocking. Do we really need to do door knocking?
I mean,
There's no magic pill in terms
Yeah.
of like a percentage that you're looking for. You
Mhm.
gotta figure out, you know, what's your niche and what do you feel most comfortable?
Yeah.
And where you're gonna find the most success. Because you could knock 1,000 doors, but if you're knocking in the wrong place
Yeah.
without a plan, then.
yeah,
you're
if
just
you're not
knocking
following up,
doors.
like Kenny said, if you don't have a plan,
Mm,
then you're just wasting your time. I think for the thing I've learned is just one, consistency matters.
mhm.
Like that's one thing that matters. If you're gonna door knock, door knock every week. If you're just gonna door knock once a year, that's not gonna do it. You might as well save your time and call more people with
I
that,
think
with those
open
hours.
house is more efficient,
Yeah.
more practical. And
It can be. I mean, for some people it can be. It may not be for other people, right? I know some people who do, like, so for me, I did a year of open houses and I never got anything. But then, what does that tell me? Did it tell me, was it the problem with the open house? Or was it a problem with me and how I interact with people at the open house, right?
What did you change?
I think I got better at talking to people at open house, get
Okay.
better at setting appointments and asking for the business
Yeah.
and being more aggressive at an open
Mhm.
house and not just sitting and, just talking to people.
I love open houses.
I love open
Yeah.
house too. I know you're the
So,
master.
It's more of just your niche and where,
Mhm.
you feel like this is my skill sets,
Yeah.
you know, as really proven or
Mhm.
track record, and stick with it.
So you gotta, I heard you gotta at least one transaction per open house, is that right?
Well, your goal is always try to get at least one
At least
appointment.
one appointment.
One buyer per.
Yeah, one
open house.
appointment. It's always the goal.
Try to set that appointment there at
Mhm.
that open
Try to
house.
set up an appointment there.
Say, let's have our buyer's presentation Tuesday morning, whenever they're free. And just set it. Like, oh, if we need to change it, we'll change it, but let's set some time now.
So, what do you usually tell the buyer, like, we set up an appointment, they feel like not comfortable with you, what do you try to deliver? Just go through the buyer, presentation?
I think everyone's going to have their own personality that kind of goes with it. Mine's more very casual, but you want to know everything about the home. And once you present it, then you
The
let them kind of
requirements.
explore a little bit, you know, make them feel at home, welcome them.
Mhm.
And then you want to, you know, capture them as best you can. You have a really short time to gain their
Yeah.
trust, which is
Have
the
a 10
hardest part.
minutes, yeah.
Even less than that,
Even
just
less.
more
Yeah.
just attention. And then you want to just be direct with, you know, everything you know about the home. And then also find out, you know, more about them as to, if it's not this house, then what are you looking for, right? Why are you here?
Mhm.
You know, obviously you're very driven because you're here on a weekend and it's
Mhm.
raining, right?
Yeah,
So you must
very
be
motivated.
very
yeah.
motivated.
Mhm.
So, you know, what can I help you with and why have you not had any success?
You usually meet in, near a coffee place or meet at the office?
Well, you try to set the appointment first, and then everything is a lot more convenient via Zoom,
Zoom.
right? So set the appointment first, and then follow up real quick right after that. Give them exactly what you told them you wanted to get them. If it's disclosure package, give them a disclosure packet. If you're going to follow up with a few questions, get that for them, get an answer. Send them the Zoom link, confirm that here's, you know, this is what we talked about. This is our tentative schedule. If everything changes, let you know. But at least you have that in place.
Follow up is key, like Kenny said,
Yeah,
follow up with all
follow
that
up.
information. And what you said, meet coffee shop, don't do that.
Don't do that
Yeah,
yet.
we'll try not to, because I mean, if
Not
that's the only
yet,
option, then you know, you do what you have to. But if that's, because it's usually distracting, a lot of people around, so it's usually
Yeah,
hard to
the
do.
Zoom is also great because you're working around their schedule.
Yeah.
So if they tell you like, hey, you know, I can do it weekday from noon
Mhm.
or weeknight from evening, then you're like, okay, well, set a date
More
first. Whatever they
flexible.
say, be like, okay, I'll be there. And then make it work.
Half hour? How long?
You're trying to get at least an hour
An hour?
Yeah.
of a time block for a consultation because
Okay.
you want to be thorough as possible. And you let them know exactly what it consists of and then always try to get a tentative schedule in,
Mhm.
right? And tell them like, you got to be free sometime during this week, right? If it's not the weekday, then it's the weekend. If it's not the afternoon, then it's the evening. And I can work on your schedule, meaning I can Zoom anytime.
Mhm.
So let me know what is best for you. Even if they don't have a decision maker there, put something in tentatively, right? Be like, well, if your husband can't make it, let's change it. But let's put something in hold,
Mhm.
you know, hold it in place for now. And you have my number, here's my card. You know, call me if anything changes.
Yeah, it's always easier to change it instead of getting it later. Because if you get it on books now, then
Yeah, you won't hear it from me.
So that's pretty much all I got for today. Any questions on anything we covered?
Thank you.
You're welcome. What is your favorite thing you learned from today?
A lot of things.
I learned a referral.
Referral?
How to get a referral agent.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
I did not.
I didn't know that before.
Know that I had to pay attention there, honestly.
Yeah.
I didn't know that percentage of my business could possibly come from. a
Right,
referral
yeah,
agent,
yeah.
Referral is important.
Higher than a social media percentage. Like,
Right.
and I was putting my brains on social media presence or
Yeah.
not knowing this.
Mhm. So, I mean, social media is important. I mean,
So
that,
it's moment of a week.
yeah.
Did you guys actually get a lead from your social media post ever?
Yeah.
What is the percentage?
I
How
don't know.
many did
Social
you get?
media,
Not percentage, how many did you get? Like Facebook leads, those
I think-
strangers?
So for me, it's all sphere. So posts like
Oh, it's your
Um,
friend.
a circle
You already
of
know.
friends that I already know
Yeah.
that not necessarily them, but they refer like their mom or their friend to me.
Okay. That's still, that's a sphere, that's a
So
referral,
it's,
not a strangers, right?
yeah, not a stranger,
Not stranger.
but I mean, it's not someone I knew, right? It's still a referral from a sphere,
Referral
my
from
sphere of
there.
influence.
So actually, a business should really, yeah.
Anything that's
build
outside of your
around
sphere, like we
sphere.
saw in the chart, anything that's outside of your sphere is at best 5%, right?
Yeah.
So so whatever you do outside of your sphere of influence, I think my advice is one thing would be, one thing that they said at Keller Williams is to lead with revenue. So try to make it something that's not expensive. Social media is not expensive, right? It's just your time. So just do it consistently, and then that 5% will show up, right? That open house, is also 5%. So, I mean, but if you increase your skills, then that increases that percentage too.
Yeah.
So it's what you like to do, but make sure you do it consistently.
Yeah.
Any paid leads are, that percentage is lower. It's like maybe 2 or 3%
I don't do
return.
it. I don't want to invest money on this.
Yeah. But I mean, after you get a point of, you go through all your sphere, then you may have to explore some of those different options.
Yeah.
But use that as a supplement. Like never stop touching your sphere, because that's always going to be the best source for people that know, because those people know you.
Yeah, the trust has been already built
Yeah.
through the sphere.
Yeah.
It's really hard to build trust with strangers.
Yes. Yeah. That is much more difficult.
Who you consider your fear? Like,
My sphere is anyone who knows me, who we've have a two-way conversation. Sometimes if it's no problem, if it's someone I meet at an open house, then after we've had at least a two-way conversation on real estate. Basically, it's anyone. If I call, I'm pretty confident they'll pick up my phone call, and we can just talk.
okay,
Yeah.
so like that person, talk a little bit.
Yeah.
So I have a question, like if you talk to that person, do you thinking to add that person to your Facebook? Because that's the only way to remind them frequently that you are a real estate agent. Because
No, not necessarily. The first thing I do is when I meet them, I'll put them on some smart plans. We'll reach out to them via email or text every period. It depends. So I try to keep Facebook more personal for now. So if they want to see if they want to reach out, then I'll always add them. But if they're not a friend, like if I haven't had dinner with them or something, then it's not someone I would add on Facebook yet, typically. But a lot of times the clients I work with end up being friends, so I usually add them eventually, but usually not at first. Because sometimes it's kind of weird. People, if they want to focus, if your relationship with them is more professional, they prefer LinkedIn to network with you, and Facebook is more like sharing family photos.
that's why, I'm just keep asking because I'm still thinking and don't know the way how to connect with people yet, like the right way.
Yeah, and for everybody, a little bit different. This is how it's just generally people prefer more professional things on LinkedIn, but I doesn't mean. I also know a couple of agents who are not on LinkedIn that are on Facebook all the time.
For example,
they get a lot of business on Facebook. So it depends on how you want to do it.
Okay, so like I'm not from California for long, so I want to build up my database by like all the moms that I meet at school or play day. So of course I know them and I talk to them several times, but like should I just add them to my Facebook so they know I'm real estate agent and we feel like we connect with each other because we normally share like personal life?
In that case,
should I do that?
Yes,
should I just add people like that?
Yeah, in that case, I think it would be good to add them on Facebook because you have a relationship with them outside of real estate. You have an outside relationship, based on your kids and play dates. So I think that's a good way to connect with them on Facebook.
Yeah. Okay. So if you say so, then I will start to add more.
Any chance to grow?
Okay. So that's good.
All right.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Brian. You bring a lot of good information.
Oh, thank you. I'm glad it was helpful. Great. Well, thanks everybody for joining. Hope to see you in the office soon.
Thanks, Brian.
No problem. Thanks, Purvi. Thanks, Robbie. Thanks, Sarah. See you later.